I have been successful. If you just learn one thing every day that's going to make you do something different tomorrow, you will become 1% better.
Welcome to the 1% Edge podcast, where we dive into the journeys of extraordinary guests committed to getting just 1% better every day. Today's topic is about using AI to make yourself 1% better. And to help us out with the topic, I'm honored to have Cherilyn Castleman, executive coach and managing partner at CGI Coaching and Training. Welcome, Cherilyn. How are you?
Fantastic, Carlos. Thank you for having me here. I'm absolutely thrilled to be with you today.
I am excited to have you as well. Let's jump into the topic to start with of AI, right? Because it's on everybody's mind. Some people are just reusing it to write emails and content, and they're not aware of the buffet of different options under AI. Can you define a little bit of AI? When you say using AI, what does that mean?
So Carlos, one of the things that I talk about that there's really three types of AI that people are using today. And the first one are chat bots. This is for automatic pricing. You go onto a website and it says, you ask, what is pricing? It gives you an answer. So it's got very narrow lanes and it tells you, you ask a question, it gives an automatic response. The second one that I reference, and this is where generative AI and predictive AI comes in, and this is co-pilots. This is where ChatGPT falls in and Gemini. And this is like your smart assistant. You could ask it questions all day. You can have it challenge you. You can now build these co-pilots. You can build your own ChatGPT or Gemini co-pilots within about 15 minutes. So it's a small language, just your data, just your ideas. And third are agents. And this is what Salesforce and LinkedIn are building, and these are what is doing the SDR work for you. It's, booking calls for you, identifying top prospects. So you have agents who do the work for you, co-pilots who are your assistant, who do the thinking with you, and chat bots who give automatic responses. Today, I'm going to be talking about co-pilots. I'm going to be talking about using assistants to help you go bigger, faster, smarter, and so that you can close deals quicker and larger deals.
Excellent. All right, I'm excited. Let's start with, why are some folks using it and seemingly embracing it in new ways, it seems like every day, and other folks are terrified of this thing?
So first of all, there's three things, or there's three reasons that I think the sales professionals that I find are not using AI. And the first one is fear. It is fear of the unknown. It is a new tech. People are just afraid. And so it's not something you can just kind of dip your toe in. I just tell people, just jump in and use it every day, all day. Mastery comes from usage. So first one is fear. The second one is that, and especially women, research has shown that if you look at any AI product or tool, women are using it 10 to 40% less than men. Recent Harvard Business Review article in April of 2025 said women are not using AI. So it is, and the reason what they say is women think that this is cheating. So some people think using AI is cheating. So one is fear, two is cheating, and three is it can be very complicated and overwhelming. When last month, when LinkedIn came out with their state of sales report about AI, 59% of sales leaders says, I don't know where to begin. It's too complicated. There's so much going on. So it's complicated. Is it cheating? And I'm afraid I'm not going to use this. So those are the three reasons why people are not using AI.
All right, let's talk about cheating, because as you said it at first, I'll be honest with you, I go, well, maybe it is. And then I just thought back throughout my career. So, for example, when I used to do a newsletter, I would write up Ghibli group topic. It would be broken English and misspelled words, and I would hand it off to someone, and they would make a beautiful article out of my Ghibli group art stuff. They were basically like assisting me in doing it. And it wasn't cheating then. So as I heard you say, I go, it's not cheating today if I enter it into this prompt with my Ghibli goop to a Copilot or something like to that effect, and it comes back with a better version, that shouldn't be cheating. Is there like a deep seated reason? Because you really mentioned women feel this way. I wonder why.
So it's about integrity. Okay, so women are very much about integrity. There were, in 2020, HBR had an article that says women are the future of B2B sales, and part of that is because we build great relationships, we have integrity, and so what I challenge people to do is learn how to use AI without compromising your integrity. I read somewhere that a fool with a tool is still a fool. So if you were a fool before you started using AI, AI is going to help you be a bigger fool. Okay. If you are selling with passion, if you're building relationships, if you're helping your clients solve problems, it will help you do that better. Period. If you are lying and cheating and trying to cheat people out of their money, it's going to help you do that too.
Yeah.
So
Well, since you mentioned women, because I know one of your passion is empowering 1 million women by 2030. Did I get
yeah,
that right?
yes.
Tell us a little bit about that as well. And then we'll jump back into the topic of AI, but I don't want to miss that big
Thank
part.
you, Carlos. So, Carlos, I've been in sales since before Girl Scout cookies were 50 cents a box. I always tell people stop counting, long, long time. And I am now on a mission to empower 1 million women to sit at the table of their dreams by 2030. Because what I've discovered is that so many women like me early in my career either lack the access, the financial fluency, or the executive presence to get there. So that's why I coach and train and do podcasts and build online learning courses to help women become too good to be ignored, too good to be ignored by their executive leadership, by their clients, or by recruiters. And the biggest differentiator for women or anybody in sales is AI. And again, I'm talking about generative AI and predictive AI. And so you can be intentional about AI. There was a recent article in the Atlantic that says AI will reflect back and it starts becoming like your yes person. And so somebody wrote and said, should I market poop on a stick? And AI was like, yes, you're a brilliant marketer. You should absolutely do that. And it said, come up with my marketing strategy. So if you just use AI to say yes to you, it becomes a yes person and it doesn't help you grow. So I encourage people to ask AI to challenge your thought process. Is this a good email? Not just rewrite it. What else should I talk about? What am I missing here? What's important to a chief marketing officer versus a CFO when I write this? What is this? This person is a woman. This person is a Gen X. This person is close to retirement. What is important about them? They're in this industry. Here's what's going on with the industry. One thing is don't have it mirror you. Let it mentor you.
Love that. All right. So let's talk about some ways that people have been using AI effectively in sales. Do you have some tips for our folks or areas of focus? You go, here's some great places to start.
Yeah, here are three things that I encourage people to do. And the first one is help you be more efficient. I have a client, she is in the C-suite at Amazon, and what I told her to do is sit down every morning and take 15 minutes and say, here are the things I must accomplish today. Any ideas or tips on how to help me be more efficient? Her next coaching call, she is washed down in tears. She says, Cherilyn, I got my weekends back for the first time in years because she started using AI for 15 minutes every morning, just asking it, how can I be more efficient? How can I do this better? How can I do this quicker? How can I delegate this? And so one is just take 15 minutes and challenge and ask it to challenge you about how you're approaching your workday. Number two, um, 87% of B2B buyers expect sellers to show up as a trusted advisor. And a trusted advisor means you build a relationship. And number two, you have a POV. You have an opinion. And I tell people, even if your opinion is wrong, if I said to you, Carlos, I have an idea to run by you, I have an idea to share with you, what are you going to say?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. So have ideas. Ask it to help you create a POV. And the easiest way to do it is to triangulate. So say, here's what's going on with the industry. Here's what's going on with this company, and here's what I've learned about the person I'm going to talk to. Can you develop a POV by triangulating these three topics? So get asking AI to triangulate for you. I learned this, I learned this. I bring all three things together and make me be a trusted advisor. Give me an opinion. Help me with my POV. You can share that POV on LinkedIn. You can send it in an email. You can send it in a text. You can leave it as a voicemail. It positions you as the advisor part of trusted. And the third way that I encourage people to use AI is to build trust. And one of the simplest ways is to ask better questions. So Dr. Jane Dutton, researcher in University of Nebraska, said that her research shows that if we take time to build trust, then there's a deeper connection. And so what I've started coaching people to do is take your discovery questions. We all have those standard questions we ask people. Carly, what's your favorite discovery question?
So my favorites are ones where we talk about specific examples of problems a customer might have and we get their opinion.
Okay,
Like, hey, here's what I'm seeing in the industry. Are you seeing this as well?
Okay.
And we get a reaction.
Yeah. Here's what I'm seeing in the industry. Are you seeing this as well? Take that question, drop it in AI, and say, now rewrite this as a high trust question. So I used to ask my clients, where do you see yourself 5 years from now versus where are you? That's how I used to open it. Now I ask my clients, when was the last time you either cried at work or cried about something at work? Now you see which one built trust real quickly. You ask that of women that that are thinking about needing a coach, they tell you right away where the problem is and what they need coaching on. And so I had another client that she used that she sold financial services, and she used to ask her clients, tell me about your insurance portfolio. Now she says, what is it about insurance that scares you?
I like that. I'm a big believer that words do matter, right? Words create emotional reaction. Some of them is negative. So, for example, we've all heard the dreaded question, what keeps you up at night, which I always like to say, horrible salespeople that don't do any research.
Right. It's not a great question anymore. Okay.
It's not. And it got overly used over and over again. Like, let me do your homework for you. Right. Versus one where you do share a point of view, an opinion, and you get a reaction right or wrong, right? And you're providing something of value. So there's a difference. So I like the words you're using in these questions impact the results you're getting. And the other thing I try to tell people is A/B test this stuff. Don't just take the AI's point of view or my point of view. Hey, you used to ask it this way. Be willing to ask it a different way and see what kind of results you get.
Here's a real quick A/B test. I have a client that works for a large fintech company, and they're always trying to get data and getting the client to share things. So the marketing team had written this whole proposal in this email, and the sales teams were sending them out, and they weren't getting very much response, maybe about 2 or 3 open rate. And so I said, drop it in AI and ask it to rewrite it at the 3rd grade level. And she's like, 3rd grade? Nobody. I said, let's just A/B test it, okay?
Yeah.
These people are busy. They've got things to do. Her open rate went to 42%. Just by changing what her marketing team had written and changing it to the 3rd grade level. So if you're not getting a response, try that. Say, write this at the 3rd grade level, write it at a 4th grade level. There are so many ways that you can just tweak it, and AI will give you a chance to do that. You can do a little A/B test until you find out what works. She automatically shot to the top of the leaderboard just by doing that one change. She now trains every salesperson in her company on how to use AI. But that's another way to do it. So,
these are great tips. Now, part of the reason I also think people have fear about AI is it's coming from my job, or it's going to lower people in my job. And to be honest with you, in some roles, I think it's right. If all you did before was push a button to send out generic emails, we don't need you any longer. We can automate that. But if you're the person that's thinking through the messaging and personalizing it and taking it the extra mile, that's a difference. Is there any advice on, overcoming, that fear of it's coming from my job part of this equation?
Yeah. I always tell my clients, AI is not coming for your job. the person who has mastered AI is coming for your job.
Nice.
So if you could only do one thing, if you're looking for a job today, if you want to be, if you want to be too good to be ignored by your leadership team, master your AI tools, master your AI tech stack. All of the CRMs and LinkedIn have unlimited free training. Take this training, learn all the AI tools. I think LinkedIn and Salesforce come out with new AI tools, it seems like every month. Master those, learn those, use those. They will accelerate you. Become a resource for your team member. I tell sales leaders, implement something in your agenda called Teach Me Something in 5 minutes. And at the end of every one of your weekly sales teams meeting, have one team member teach the entire team their favorite AI tool, trick, or idea. At the end of the year, your entire team will have learned 50 AI tools that somebody on your team is doing well. And so if
I
somebody
love
on your
that.
team knows how to use, Agent Force with Salesforce, let them teach your team how they're using it. If somebody has figured out how to write better emails or how to develop a POV, you can do that. And also just for your listeners, everything that I'm talking about here, if you want to know more about it, I have a handout for it. So if you just connect with me on LinkedIn and say, Cherilyn, I heard you on Carlos's 1% podcast. Can you send me the handout on how to with the prompts on how to write a POV? Or send me the handout about how to build better trust questions, or how to tips for how women, or how I can overcome my fear, or my fear of compromising my integrity with AI.
So I'm a big believer on feed your brain. In other words, constantly be learning new things, whether it's, through reading a book, listening to a book, listening to podcasts, whatever. How much time, Cheryl, should someone be spending on learning AI these days? I'd love your advice or viewpoint.
So, and research tells us that it takes 28 days to learn a new habit. What they don't tell you is it is 28 days of using it. So, if you only use AI once a week, it's going to take you 28 weeks. And so, I tell people to use it all day long. You wake up in the morning, and I sit down and I say, here are the tasks I have to do. How do I make it simpler? And when I'm coaching clients, I will say to my client, hey, open your AI and let's throw this question in there and see what insights we get. If I think about a problem that one of my clients is struggling with, I'll go in and put the question in the AI, and then I will send it to them and say, hey, AI suggested this. Here's some tips, or here's some ideas to help you get ready for your interview, or to help you get ready for this client presentation or your quarterly business review. So I encourage people to use it all day. At the end of the day, the best thing I make in the refrigerator, in the kitchen, the best thing I make in the kitchen, Carlos, is reservations. Okay, I'm just going to tell you, I hate to cook, but I will go into the kitchen, open the refrigerator, and I open up my AI and I go, and I read what's in my refrigerator, and I say, okay, now tell me what to make. All right.
You could take a picture and give them the picture. It'll
You
do the
can
same
do
thing.
that. So it's just use it all day long. It is your assistant. Years ago, you talked about you had assistant. I was a single mom, and so my girls were my assistants, and they were like, "Mommy, you need an assistant." And I would say, "Edit this, read this. What do you think about this?" Now I just go into AI. I'm teaching a new course. Look at my handout. When I'm training, when I'm training, I want to be entertaining. I want to facilitate. I want to coach, and I want to educate. Used to be, I had to do that over and over again and get the feedback to make my courses better. Now I can go into AI and say, here's my handout, here's my script, here's my slides. Am I entertaining? Am I educating? Am I facilitating? Am I coaching? And it tells me my gaps. I'm not testing this on my clients.
Nice. All right. So, what might be some of the best tools out there? Because, like you said, I mean, even if we think about it, Chat GPT, there's a million of them, right? So, what might be some of the best tools or recommendations you have for trying out?
So I tell people that the best tool is one that you will use, period. So if you love LinkedIn and you're a master at LinkedIn, then master their AI tools. They have so many agents and resources that you can become so incredibly good at networking, connecting, and prospecting by leveraging that. Salesforce has agents that will coach you on how to prep for a meeting, coach you after a meeting. You can build these agents, you can build these bots. And so if your company has a tech stack, master that tech stack and whatever the AI tools that are built into that. If you are an entrepreneur or you work for a smaller company, I would start with something like a Chat GPT or a Gemini. They are constantly changing. Even the free versions are incredible. You can build your own co-pilot for $14 a month on Chat GPT. You can just go in and build I've built one to help women interview. They
Oh,
just go in
great.
and helps them be a better interviewer. I'm really tough. I used to do it through coaching, and now I just say, here, log in, and this will help you do that. So you can build your own co-pilot that way. And so every day there are new AI tools coming out. So if I recommended one, there'd be another one tomorrow. So the best tool is the one that you will use. Period. Find one that you will use and master it. And the only way to master it is to use it all day, every day.
Okay. I like that. So you mentioned, like, for example, if you work for a company, look at the tech stack they have, because one big question, especially for executives these days, is, oh my, security, right? I'm terrified that I'm going to get an employee that's going to take some, confidential data and they're going to put it into this open source tool. Any advice for companies on how to best deal with that?
So, first of all, know whether or not your company has a large language model or a small language model. So, a large language model means that all the data is out there for everybody. And that's what ChatGPT is. And if that's the case, then you have to blind your data and your information. So I will just say, I have a client at a fintech, or I have a client that sells SaaS. I don't go into any more detail. I blind the information that I put in there. Small language models means that your company has bought an enterprise version and only information there is your data. And I'm telling you, those are just like gold mines. So I have several clients who work for companies that have this. You can put whatever you want in there because it doesn't leave your company. It just stays there. And that's why if you build your own Copilot, it just has your data in there. So you build your own Copilot on your desktop and you can upload all of your podcasts, all of your handouts, all of your information, anything you read or anywhere, and you just upload all this. And so when you use it, it's talking to you and it's your own personal tool. So if you're using a public tool, yes, you have to be careful. But I put that back on companies. Companies have to think about what are those risks and what do we do to mitigate them? And the easiest way to mitigate that is to have a small language model that is just your company's data and just what you want to do. And so then when you say, talk about my product, marketing has already put the material in there. So
In
you're
there.
going to get the perfect messaging. If you say, talk about, rewrite this at a third grade level, it's going to use your company language, your company product, but it will still rewrite it at a third grade level.
Excellent. Since we're
Other
talking,
things that, yeah, other
go
things that
ahead.
people will say is they will say, and do not include information from my competitors. So if, for example, if I work for a fintech and I take my company's marketing material and I put it in and say, write this at a third grade level, it might incorporate information from other fintechs. So you have to say to it, if you're using a large language, just like a basic chat GPT, then you say, do not include or exclude information from any of my competitors and then list them so that it's still rewriting it, but it's using your company's words. So you do have to work a little harder, or you have to personally build your own small language. I tell people it takes 15 minutes. Build your own small language model.
Okay. The Talking about different use cases, one of the things that I preach about these days is in sales, especially with the amount of information that our prospects have, it's on you to be better prepared for these conversations. Not just with more clever questions, but understanding about the industry, their competition, their challenges, so you can have, back to your point of view, And one of the things I'll share this with you. I don't know if it was good or bad, Cheryl, but I got a new prospect. They were a private company in a point of sale business. And I did a search off, look at their website, look at us, what are their top challenges, and then, hey, look at their top 5 competitors and what are they saying their top challenges are, and where do they align? And
Right.
I was amazed the level of data I got back.
That's phenomenal. So I'm going to challenge you. And the reason is Carlos, one of my mentors said, when you criticize people, you raise their defensiveness, but if you challenge people, you raise their game. So I'm going to challenge you to add the person's name there and ask it to triangulate. So triangulate the information about the company, triangulate the data, and then add the person. I'm
Person's
going to be
name. I
moving
like that.
between 3, 4 people. It will pull their information from LinkedIn, from their executive page, and then say, now triangulate this and give me a POV, so that you're combining all of that when you're speaking to them. And if you do it and say, do it for the chief marketing officer, do it for the head of chief people officer, or do it for the CEO, you'll see the repositioning and you'll be so powerful when you go in and talk to them.
See, Shirley, you're making me 1% better already. I love it.
Awesome. That's my goal. I only if your audience only learned one thing from here, then I have been successful. If you just learn one thing every day that's going to make you do something different tomorrow, you will become 1% better.
Awesome. All right. So, Cherilyn, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
So as I mentioned, I started in sales when I was very, very young. When I finished college, I worked in social work. And in social work, I discovered that it's actually sales. You have to sell your clients on having legal behaviors. I was a social worker in the criminal justice system. I had to sell the United Way on providing funding for us. And at the time, I wasn't very good at it. And I made a conscious choice that I was going to go out and take a straight commission sales job so I could learn sales, so I could go back to being a great social worker. The problem was I was really good at sales, shot to the top of the leaderboard at the time selling financial services, and I never looked back because as a single mom, the lifestyle that I could provide for my children in sales was so different than social work that I just stayed in sales. I was in healthcare and life science sales for SaaS sales, and a couple years ago, I read an article written where and I'm going to ask you and your listeners this. In the last 75 years, we've had over 4,000 Fortune 500 CEOs. Do you know how many have been Black women?
Not a clue.
Guess. Just guess. How many Black women have been CEOs of Fortune 500 companies? There have been 4,000 to 7,000 CEOs. How many have been Black women?
1 to 2%.
So 1 to 2% would be what, 40 or 400? What do you got?
I gotta go do my math.
It's
So,
okay. How
yeah,
about 3?
really.
Yeah. So
I
at
mean,
the
like
time,
7,000, 1%, 700. So,
yeah. So 3,
wow.
3. So and at the time there was one. It was Ursula Burns. She was a former CEO of Xerox, and so
I
when she
remember her.
yeah, and so when she stepped down, they asked her, why are there not more women in the C-suite? And she said, because marketing won't get you there, arts won't get you there, communications and PR, where women tend to go, won't get you there, medicine and law don't get you there. Women have to learn to be close to the juice, which is, she went on to explain, which is product and money. So I said to myself, if I can help women get closer to product and money, i.e., sales, because that's all it is a product and money. Can I help more women get into the C-suite or sit at the table of their dreams? So that's when I transitioned from sales to coaching and training women to be too good to be ignored.
Well, I love the fact that your career is kind of, in a way, done a like, you started out in a social work, right? Doing something very noble. You've had a successful career in sales, but now you're leverage some of your success to kind of give back and help, a community that's underserved and not well represented. Did I say that all right?
Yeah, it is. It is not always. They're not always invited to have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And one final thing, and this was my prediction for LinkedIn. I predict that AI will be will help level set. If you are struggling to get promoted, if you are struggling to get noticed, master AI and all of that will disappear. AI will help reduce bias. And some people believe the opposite, but I'm like, write your own. If you don't like the responses, yes, a lot of the programmers are from the majority and they tend to be males. Write your own. Write your own small language, use it, and you will become too good to be ignored.
That's a good point, because you can feed it whatever content you want,
Right.
so you can really help give it a point of view that's
Right.
more aligned to your own.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
All right, so I got my two last questions of the day. So what's your 1% edge? What's the thing that you're kind of been doing daily that are making you better?
So I would say passion and purpose. I wake up every morning and I say, what can I do to help a million women sit at the table of their dreams? No, care about something. Care about your clients, care about your industry, care about your company. Find something that you care about, and that will give you your 1% edge, because everything you, and wake up every day and say, how can I get closer to that? So if you care about your family or care about generating income so that you can build generational wealth, I don't care what it is, but care about something and wake up every day and say, what is one thing I can do that helps me get closer to this goal? And that's what I do. Is every day I wake up and say, how can I help a million women sit at the table of their dreams by 2030?
Love it. Love it. A lot of folks talked about having purpose. This is kind of like thing too. What do you care about?
Yeah.
I
What's
love
your
that.
passion? What's your purpose?
So Cherilyn, if people want to get to know you better, or want to hire you for coaching services, or want to connect with your organization, what's the best way for them to reach you?
The best way to connect with me is on LinkedIn. Just send me a message on LinkedIn, and I have an offer for your audience. I have just released 60 smart tips on Udemy, which is an online learning platform. And if you would like a discount code to get my 60 best tips that I've had in sales, and every one of the tips includes 2 handouts. There are over 100 prompts on you can use with AI. So message me if you want one of my handouts. Message me, just connect with me on LinkedIn and ask for the discount code. Or just connect with me on LinkedIn and follow my what I'm saying about AI and my insights about sales and AI. So
Excellent.
Cherilyn Castleman, LinkedIn.
Thank you. That's awesome. Appreciate it. And thank you for being on the show this week.
Thank you, Carlos. It's been absolutely my delight.
Awesome. All right, folks, that does it for this week's episode. If you got value from the episode, please comment back, subscribe. Love to hear from you. Until next week, I wish you nothing but the greatest success.